Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our second webinar in a series of TrustHab webinars. My name is Gemma Bissell. I'm the marketing manager for TrustHab, and joining me today is our product manager, Giulio Buccieri. So today's topic is how to keep maintenance service calls within normal business hours. This particular subject is one that seems to resonate well with anyone that has managed or worked in a property, whether you're the property manager, the maintenance manager, or even a leasing manager. Over the past couple of years, we've had many conversations with property staff who have reported that these after hours emergency maintenance calls from tenants are some of the toughest things that they deal with. Our platform was purpose built to help property staff avoid the need to wait for tenants to report maintenance problems. And today we're going to show you how.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Gemma. Like she said, I'm Julio, product manager here at TrustHab. In case you are familiar with the TrustHab platform, we're a facilities IoT solution purpose-built for student housing, senior living, residential, and commercial MDUs. Our platform utilizes IoT-driven smart devices to push actionable data back to property staff, allowing them to remotely identify when a potentially risky condition is present within a unit. Our solution empowers management teams with a more efficient way to manage vacant units and provides a proactive approach to maintenance problems, which enables them to significantly reduce costs as well as increase their overall NOI. If anyone's interested, we have a number of different use cases available for download for free on our website. So you can see some examples of how we've helped properties across the country reduce their costs and increase their property's NOI. Be sure also to check out the library of how-to videos available on our site, which are a collection of 90-second tutorial clips on the many different features available within our platform.
So as I mentioned previously, these after-hours maintenance calls have been reported as one of the biggest pain points for property staff. And why? So what is it about these that are so frustrating? So maintenance teams, of course, having to come out outside of business hours are going to charge at the overtime rate. So even if something is an easy, quick repair, it's going to cost significantly more than it would if it was repaired during normal business hours. Less staff and resources are available for a quick repair. Typically, there tends to be only one member of staff on call after regular business hours. And let's say a tenant calls in to report an issue with their HVAC, but the person on call that particular evening happens to be a plumber. Obviously, there's going to be a limited amount of repair work that the plumber is able to do until the following day. Of course, it's not ideal for a tenant to have the inconvenience of a maintenance manager conducting work in their residence late at night. This can even lead to the tenant's parent calling in and complaining, which we've heard about happening quite a lot from property staff. Oftentimes, the fact that a maintenance problem is being reported after hours is a result of procrastination, typically meaning that the problem has occurred for an extensive amount of time and will be more costly to fix. So what could have started out as a very minor problem has now turned into a much greater and more expensive repair, possibly even resulting in equipment needing to be replaced altogether, which, as you may know, is not cheap. And of course, the main reason that the procrastination occurs in the first place is because residents don't really have anything to incentivize them to tell staff that something is wrong. So Giulio, tell us some of the most common service requests that property managers or maintenance managers might see these days.
Yeah, usually after hours, maintenance requests revolve around the resident's comfort level. So the most common maintenance service requests usually include the HVAC not working as expected, whether that's related to cold air not blowing when the AC is called, hot air not blowing when the climate mode is heat, or the unit can't get to an acceptable temperature. The common causes of these are usually something as simple as a window accidentally left open in conjunction with a running AC unit, or the thermostat has been turned completely off or is in the wrong climate mode, or it could be the HVAC unit has been running extensively trying to heat or cool a room to no avail, which can sometimes result in costly repairs or total breakdown. And with all this in mind, we built a product that specializes in addressing these concerns for property managers and their teams.
So now we're going to talk about some of the ways in which TrustHab helps property staff to avoid these common situations. So, real-time alerts. Alerts are triggered immediately once a specific KPI value exceeds the configured threshold. Notifications are sent as soon as the problem is detected, allowing property staff to dispatch the appropriate person to assess the situation. Early detection of brewing maintenance problems means that you can catch an issue before it becomes costly. Oftentimes, maintenance staff can address problems before a tenant even knows that one has occurred. Some of the problems can be as simple as a window being open and just needing to be closed. This is obviously a very quick fix that can be done in a matter of minutes. Whereas if this particular problem is not caught and does go on for too long, it can result in not only wasted energy, but also overtaxing the unit, which of course can lead to equipment breakdown. Proactively identify when an HVAC unit is in need of routine maintenance ahead of time. Again, this gives property staff the ability to avoid any costly equipment repairs that come as a result of an inefficient unit not being addressed in a timely manner. Ensure that the right personnel are being notified, avoiding alerts being lost in a community inbox. So, typically, when one message is sent out to multiple people, there may be confusion around who needs to act on it and what needs to be done, meaning that sometimes naturally things will slip through the cracks. Julio, can you expand on the different types of real time alerts and how they are used in the platform to streamline maintenance workflows?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have tons of alerts baked into the Trust Hub platform to make it easy for property managers and their staffs to make informed decisions based on the data we're receiving from their deployed devices. All alerts are able to be enabled or disabled. Many have editable configurations that you can tailor to your property's needs, but all have same default values, so alerts can start firing for you right out of the box after installation. On all alerts, you can configure the recipients of the alerts notifications so you can make sure the correct personnel receive the notifications they need. Regarding the different alert types we offer, tamper alerts are triggered immediately for any battery powered devices that the case gets opened or tampered with. This one's obviously not editable, but it can be toggled on or off. We also have battery power alerts that are triggered on battery powered devices when they surpass the low power thresholds. This allows you to be able to plan for when you want to devote resources to go out to that unit and replace weakened batteries before they run out of juice. Other alerts that are triggered immediately include leak detected, smoke or carbon monoxide detected. These, of course, fire alerts immediately once triggered. Now we'll go through some of the HVAC centric alerts. And again, all of these are fully configurable. The excessive runtime alert by default is set to fire after 3 hours of consecutive running. So this is usually indicative of maintenance needed, so changing a filter or cleaning a coil. It could be the resident running the HVAC with the door or window open, or trying to achieve a set point that's unobtainable based on current environmental factors. Or the room may need more insulation or weather stripping around the doors and windows if it can't achieve an acceptable set point. Our inefficient unit alert is triggered if a unit is running for a high percentage of time. So default alert levels for this one are triggered at 65% running over the last 24 hours and 80% over the last 24 hours. The percentage and time to track are configurable on this one, so you can really tailor this to the needs of your property to help call out outliers and HVACs that likely need maintenance. Extreme cold and extreme heat have temperature based thresholds. The appropriate alert is fired when the ambient temp is detected as surpassing the threshold. So the defaults for this one are 60 for extreme cold and 85 for extreme heat. Excessive humidity. So this one has been extremely useful for our partners in helping them find units that need insulation or weather stripping, or again, that they might not be cooling efficiently. High humidity over an extended period of time can cause major issues. So as you guys probably know, having a relative humidity over 65% for 24 hours or longer at around 80 degrees, that's what really promotes mold growth. And our platform helps notify you before it even gets close to becoming an issue so you can take the appropriate measures to get humidity down within that unit. The unit not heating and cooling alerts are triggered if the ambient temperature in a room starts trending in the opposite direction of where it's supposed to be going. So this has been useful not only in diagnosing HVACs that may need maintenance, but also has been helpful for our partners in allowing them to figure out how warm or cool their HVACs can get a unit to in practice on any given day.
I did just want to take a quick minute to say that we have a Q&A feature which you should see at the bottom of the screen. So throughout the rest of the webinar, if you do have any questions that come to mind, please feel free to fill them out, fill out the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to answer those at the very end. So following Julio, in summary, real-time notifications allow maintenance teams to look into potential issues as soon as they happen, instead of needing to wait for tenants to call in and report them. Prioritizing problematic units. Typically, routine maintenance checks are performed based on a schedule. So if you notice an HVAC in a particular unit maybe isn't performing as well as the others, a maintenance manager could then prioritize that unit on the inspection schedule, making sure that it is serviced in a timely manner. Managing recipients of each alert. So alert recipients, as Julio was mentioning, are customizable per alert type and severity. So specific team members can be alerted depending on how you choose to configure your alert. So for example, maybe the maintenance team gets the high humidity alert when it surpasses the info level threshold of 65%, but the property manager gets notified when it surpasses 80%. Alerts get to the appropriate personnel faster than it takes for a resident to recognize a potential issue and notify maintenance. Know before you go. So being able to identify an issue prior to even entering a residence helps staff pinpoint exactly what needs to be done and prepare accordingly, rather than having to waste time trying to diagnose an issue in person upon arrival.
Exactly right, Gemma. And it's not just the alerts which help keep these maintenance service calls within business hours. There are other areas of the Trust Hub platform that can also be leveraged to gain insights on your property and your deployed devices. In the dashboard and analytics sections, you can continually monitor your device activity throughout your entire property. Analytics that are measured include the unit runtime, ambient temperature and humidity levels within each residence, as well as the external temperature and humidity levels for your property, and the ability to compare AC's unit activity with others so you can tell when a particular unit is showing signs of abnormal activity. You can also get insight into individual buildings and how well ambient temperature is being tracked in comparison to set points. You can view the overall health of your location by looking at the property level or the building level and seeing those averages. As for the dashboard, it gives you your 30,000-foot view of your property at a glance. You can see everything at a corporate or property level or drill into a specific building or unit. See your climate modes and running statuses. But the most actionable metrics here are the runtime and cycle widgets. The best example of potential cost savings is locating and remedying the units that are running excessively. The initial 24 hours after install shows you which units struggle to reach their set points, if they reach them at all. Those units have likely been running like that for months, if not longer. And you'll be able to easily see your property and building runtime averages so you can locate the units which are outliers and likely provide them maintenance. Runtime data also allows us to project savings if you set a hard cooling minimum, heating maximum set points, and this can directly correlate to a percentage of runtime savings. And kind of to go a little further on this, when it comes to runtime, we've been able to show value to our partners and have saved them thousands. In the Midwest, we had a maintenance team that noticed that a unit was cooling for more than a day straight without reaching its set point. This, of course, fired an alert for excessive runtime, which caused them to look into the device on the platform and notice how long it had actually been running without stopping. The property maintenance staff investigated. The resident wasn't there and was on break and noticed that the unit had 2 windows left open. So it saved them days of runtime as well as wear and tear on the unit, which would have ran for a week straight or longer until the resident returned. On another partner property, an alert for a unit's excessive runtime triggered the maintenance team to check in on that unit's HVAC. The resident had not complained of any issue, but the team went and investigated anyways. Upon inspection, they noticed the coil was completely clogged and frozen. They were able to remedy this issue with preventative maintenance, whereas if it was left to run unchecked, it would have turned into a costly repair. So alerts, analytics, and the dashboard are all great ways to see how your devices are performing to allow you to catch issues before they become major problems. But what else can TrustTab do to help with after-hours maintenance calls? That's where our command and control features help make your life easier. Under the Places section, you can see in real time what the devices are doing so that the maintenance staff know exactly what problem they're going in for prior to entering the unit. which avoids wasting time trying to dissect the root of the problem. You can also easily edit devices and change settings from anywhere you have an internet connection from. For example, let's say a tenant calls after hours to say the AC isn't blowing cold air. Property staff can view the current status and mode of the thermostat and ensure it is set to the right mode and set points needed to achieve what the resident wants. If they're unknowingly in off or heat mode, you can easily make the change for them with just a few clicks. On an after hours call, that's much easier than needing to talk the resident through how to change the setting, and certainly more cost effective than sending a resource on site after hours just to press a few buttons in the residence unit.
Thank you, Julio. So as you can see, our platform was purpose built to provide property managers with insight into actionable data across a property, enabling them to proactively address maintenance issues. This, of course, reduces the need for property staff to have to wait for tenants to call in and report maintenance problems, which in turn helps to cut down on costs, not only equipment repair expenses, but also the expenses that come as a result of staff working overtime hours. If you are ever interested in receiving a quick demo of the platform, our sales team would be happy to give you a more in-depth look at the platform features and how they can help you reduce costs for your specific property.
Thanks, Gemma. So yeah, we're going to move over to the Q&A portion of the webinar. Thanks to those of you who had submitted questions beforehand. We're going to go through as many of them as we can, so I'll toss it back over to Gemma to tell us the first question.
Okay, so let's take a look into some of the questions that we have. Question number 1, how can I make sure these alert notifications get to the correct member of my staff?
Yeah, that's a big one, right? So our alerts are fully customizable, and you're able to configure them to send notifications to as many or as few team members as needed. As a property manager, let's say you've had humidity issues on your property previously, you probably want to be included as a recipient to receive any high humidity alerts that come up. But maybe you want any low battery alerts to go to the team members who are handling that, or you might want any inefficient alerts to go to just a particular staff member who handles most of your HVAC maintenance. And you might want any smoke or leak detection alerts to go out to all team members at once. You can set up your alert recipients for each specific alert, so that way you don't need to worry about forwarding messages around. You already know that the right people are getting the right notifications.
Okay, so another good question. In the field, what have you seen in the platform that has really saved the most after hours headaches?
Honestly, the more proactive you can be with your maintenance, the less after hours headaches you're going to run into. When we've had partners tackling issues after hours, it's mostly been fixing user error. On multiple occasions, we've had maintenance supervisors and property managers tell us stories of residents contacting them after hours, 10 p.m., midnight, telling them AC wasn't blowing cold, or they couldn't get the heat to turn on. And when they logged into Trust Hab to see what was up, they'd notice the thermostat was just set to the wrong climate mode or was just turned off. And imagine having to pay for hours of overtime just to get your on-call maintenance team member to drive to the property, just to go into the residence unit, change the climate mode, and then drive home. Being able to easily toggle the climate mode, change a set point, and getting the climate more comfortable for the resident as quick as possible is the goal. And being able to do that remotely has been a game changer for a lot of our properties.
Okay, and question number 3, how can we prioritize which alerts should be checked out ASAP and which can wait a few days?
So, of course, if it's smoke, carbon monoxide, or a leak detected, you should probably check those out ASAP, right? But as a general rule, if a certain unit keeps firing the same type of alert consistently, day over day, week after week, it's worth to, at the very least, check into that unit's behavior in the platform and see what insight you can gain there before scheduling a team member to go out to that unit. As it pertains to the other alerts, of course, no one will know your property and the age and condition of the HVACs there as good as the property management team and the staff on site. Set same defaults to the alerts out of the box, and you'll notice within a few days of installing our platform what the general averages across your property are, and can then tailor your alerts as needed. So that way you can set yourself up to only receive a notification when you see a scenario on your property that meets those criteria.
Thanks, Julio, and thank you to everyone that has joined us today. That concludes this webinar. If you have any additional questions for us, or you would like to schedule a one-on-one meeting with a member of our team, you can reach out to us at contact@trusthab.com. You'll see that address there on the screen. I will be emailing over a copy of this presentation to all of our webinar attendees. So keep your eye out in your inbox over the next few days for that. You will also be receiving information about our next webinar soon. We try to host these every 10 days or so. So we hope you will join us for the next one as well. And of course, you can find more information about our solution over on our website, trusthab.com. Thanks again, everyone.